I just want to have a quick word around the changing the cooling items, the thermostat and I actually changed the radiator on this as well. 1996 Corolla AE102 series with the 7A FE engine, 1.8. Right, this is what I put in as the high flow thermostat, because we're in a fairly hot part of Australia here, so I like the idea of the high flow. That's a part number there, TT2014180. They're not cheap, but if you keep your eye open you can sometimes get them at a half reasonable price. And that's the gasket, or it's an O-ring actually, it's not the traditional kind of gasket, TTG47. And I'll just show you the old thermostat, and I'm presuming this is the original, and that's as it came out of the vehicle when I took it out, did this last week. And you can see just how, I'm hoping that's focusing, it came out, and the O-ring was just floppy on it. It sits on the flange of the thermostat, and that's how loose it is. Like that's just touching. I haven't messed around with it at all, and it's actually on the other side there. You can see it's torn. It's actually got a just going in there for a nice little close-up with the old Fujifilm digital. Right, and anyway, the problem was the vehicle was actually running with the temperature gauge barely registering. It was about 1 to 2 marks up from the bottom, and it was only when you stopped at traffic lights or something like that it would go up to nearly half. So anyway, I wasn't particularly worried. It wasn't running hot or anything. But there was obviously a problem. I thought it was the coolant sensor, which is down here somewhere. I believe that's it. I think that's it there now. Don't quote me on that. I know it's there somewhere, and that looks like it. Anyway, I didn't touch it, and I was talking to a friend who's a very good mechanic, and he said it'll be the thermostat, and I said, well, I can't see why, but anyway, he knows much more about things than I do, so I pulled it out. There are other quite good videos on how to access the thermostat. Pretty much you have to take out the complete airbox, the lid, the filter and the base, and disconnect your obviously the pipes. I just disconnected it from the intake there up near the air fuel mix setup on the injection, and just pull the whole lot out. And also you take off the distributor cap, and that was an opportunity to have a look at that. And anyway, the car's running pretty well in itself, so I'm not worried about replacing that at the moment. That's something in the future. Right, anyway, and taking the radiator out itself, because the old radiator wasn't, as I say, wasn't overheating, but then I noticed a problem that Toyota seemed to have, because I used to have a V6 Camry and it had an identical problem. And what you're seeing was just very tiny green, or my coolant was green, but it just little marks at the top there, and they are a bit notorious for leaking around the shroud area at the top of the radiator. So anyway, I thought, well, $77 that cost for an old cheapo aluminium one, which they all seem to go alright. And pull that out, but this automatic transmission, so it's the first one I've done of that. I've done a manual one before, which was actually quite easy. But the hardest things were the pipes down the bottom, which you can't see, so I don't know why I'm aiming the camera down there. But you've got two pipes that go into your transmission cooler, which is at the bottom of the radiator, and also the lower radiator hose, and the clamps were at the bottom. Now I don't have a ramp here, and so I couldn't. It was difficult to get under the car, and so I did everything from the top. And as I was changing the hoses anyway, that was easy. I just cut them and pulled it off. And the little transmission pipes were a different matter. They caused quite a bit of drama, but eventually I got them off, and because I didn't want to particularly damage anything. But this is what I found, and this is why I'm glad I did change it. Was that that there is the male fitting for the top radiator hose, and you can see that it's actually, that was broken inside. I didn't apply any force to that, and this here is the actual hose, and you can see on the inside that there where my finger is actually the broken bit off that fitting. Now, you can imagine what would happen if that actually failed while you were driving. You'd empty out your system in very short time. There's the bottom one. It was actually, it looks pretty good. It's not broken away inside. There's your one of your transmission cooling outlets, and there's the other one there. But all in all, even though it was a nuisance getting it in, because it's you put it all together and then you find out that you can't put the hose back in while the fan's attached to the radiator, so then I had to pull it out and replace or actually remove the fan and then put the pipes in, and then stupid things like I put the bottom radiator hose on the top of the power steering metal pipe, the high pressure line, and then went to put it all together and wondered why it wouldn't go in place, and then realised what I'd done. But anyway, I suppose that's what you learn. It's a bit like being married. You learn not to do it after a while, and you sort of adapt and move on, and try not to get too upset with making small mistakes when you're working on cars. But anyway, that's those are the part numbers for the parts I've used. There is a standard thermostat, but as I say, there's a lot of places here, and a lot of people who actually just remove the thermostat from their vehicles here because they want instant high flow around the place. But I used Newlon 6-year coolant. The green stuff is a fairly high concentrate. I use. I don't have a problem with it. I know they say 50-50, but mine's probably about 90-10. And my other car, my 4-wheel drive, I run at 100% concentrated, and it's touch wood, it's all good. But anyway, this radiator came with a cap, a radiator cap, but that's my old one. And when I bought this car second hand, it actually had an incorrect radiator cap on it. It's a narrow neck one, I think they call it, and it's the actual heat thing. I'll take it off and show you. Oh, there we go. Right, as you can see, it's really quite, well, you can't really see, but it is quite small at the end there, and it goes into the neck there and makes a nice tight fit. The one that was on before was a wider one and was sitting on top of it, not actually going down inside. And but as I say, it didn't cause a problem, so maybe I was a bit overreacting to it. But anyway, that is the correct one for these vehicle with the narrow fitting on it. Anyway, it's all good. It's all running well. The temperature now goes up to half very quickly, or just a fraction under half, so I'm happy with that. All the fans work, and the heat, the actual heat in the cabin is very quick. It's up. You actually feel warm air within probably 200 metres of starting it up and driving down the road, so I'm happy with that. So it's all good.